Really my goal with this is to give people an unbiased review of this mower. There are a lot of sponsored reviews on YouTube, on the internet. This is not sponsored, but I do want to give an honest review to the end user so that expectations are set, right? Don't want to sell anybody a pipe dream. Don't want to tell anybody this thing is going to be 100% hands off, that you're going to set it and forget it and never mess with it, because that's probably not going to be the case, right? I want to find that out for myself, and I want to share my journey with that so that you guys can kind of make the best decision for you, right? Does it make sense to not buy another zero turn and instead buy a Lymow One? I don't know, right? That's your question to answer, but what I want to do is provide you with the best information so that you can make the best decision for you, for your family, for your lawn. Hey everybody, Tucker with Covenant Robotics here. We are new distributors here on the East Coast, kind of in the greater Charlotte area. We just got our Lymow One Plus test unit in yesterday, last night, late, and went ahead, got it activated last night, installed the Nate McComb roller system on it. Wanted to see what kind of stripes we could put on our lawn with that roller system. And so it's just making its first mow right now, actually. And what we are used to doing here in our yard is mowing with a Deere 997 zero turn diesel, 15-year-old mower, still runs great. No striping kit on that. We do have a fine fescue, tall fescue blend here on the yard. Titan TLC is the variety of that grass. And so we've got a pretty new yard still. This is the third spring with this yard, so it's starting to fill in a little bit. We've still got some bare places, but it is very thick in some spots. We did just get back from the beach yesterday, and so what I did was I actually let my yard grow out a little bit. Wanted to kind of see what this robot mower could do with taller grass. Now, obviously, I think these mowers, all robot mowers in general, are made for specifically, maintenance cuts, right? Where you take a ½ inch off, an inch at the most, 2, 3, 4 cuts a week in growing season. Typically what I'm used to on my zero turn is 1 cut a week. About 1 cut is all you're gonna get out of me during the growing season. I've got 2 toddlers. That keeps me busy enough, so I think gaining a couple hours back, it takes me about 1.5 hours, 2 hours to mow my yard here. We've got a little over 1 acre of mowable turf here, so getting that time back is worth a lot to me. But what I did was I let it grow out just a little bit, and I'll show you some clips here of what that looks like, what the grass looks like, and then kind of show you how the Lymow is doing. Now, we did cut just a small patch last night just to make sure everything worked properly. That was about 10 o'clock last night, so it was dark. It was starting to get very wet. I did that without removing the discharge chute, and it plugged up pretty quick. Didn't cause any problems, but I did have to pick it out of there once it finished. So I went ahead and removed that while I was installing the roller kit, and I will show you some clips here of what our yard looks like as this Lymow One is making its first cut, Lymow One Plus, excuse me. You can kind of see this grass is probably at least 7 inches tall in a lot of spots. Most of the time I mow on 5 inches, and we have been quite dry here. We have been quite dry here in North Carolina, coming out of the driest 8-month stretch on record here in North Carolina, dating back to 1895. So I'm honestly surprised that the grass is still green. Have had a couple rains here lately, which has been nice. We did have some browning here about 2 weeks ago before we did get any of that rain. But again, the main part of the turf is probably at least 6.5, 7 inches in most spots. And then we do have some thicker spots where it's probably grown up north of 8 or 10 inches. Some of it is even going to seed. So this will be a really good test to see what kind of work the Lymow One Plus can do in taller turf. Again, I think it is mostly made for maintenance cuts, which is what we'll be using it for, 2, 3, 4 times a week mows, but wanted to kind of see what it was capable of, right? The last time I mowed my yard, I was content with it being the last time I ever rode a zero turn. Hopefully that is the case. We will see, but I hope you guys follow along to figure the answer out for that. I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm actually pretty impressed already with this unit. You can see the stripes right here that this thing is putting on this lawn. That Nate McComb roller kit is pretty slick, I'm not gonna lie, so shout out to you, Nate. I don't even know if you'll see this video or not, but very, very easy install. Probably took less than 60 seconds. No instructions required, to be honest with you. Wasn't even necessary to have any instructions with that. It's literally, you just take 2 screws out of the bottom belly pan of this mower, and then you put the screws that he provides already in the fully assembled roller kit back into those screw holes. No Loctite necessary, so very, very easy install with that. But again, very, very impressed with these stripes already. These are honestly more defined than the stripes that I could do with my zero turn. Now again, my zero turn didn't have any kind of striper kit, roller kit, or anything like that on it. It was just the tire tracks really, and that was it. And it made for a pretty nice stripe, but this is a little bit of a different game. So I'm actually really impressed by these already. And on top of that, it's given a pretty even cut. There are a couple of scragglers. Again, this is pretty tall grass, but it's doing a really good job out of the gate here. This is It's like 7 o'clock in the morning, so it is actually really, really wet outside. Very, very heavy dew. It's like 48 degrees, 50 degrees out here this morning. Here in North Carolina, so a little bit chilly and cold. So it is doing a really good job already cutting this down, and I do have it double cutting today. So it's gonna cut one way, and then I've got it set in the app to cut at 45 degrees once it has made this cut, to kind of give it a little bit of a crisscross pattern there. Really, my goal with this is to give people an unbiased review of this mower. There are a lot of sponsored reviews, YouTube, on the internet. This is not sponsored. Yes, we are going to be a distributor. Yes, we are going to sell these, barring any crazy concerns or problems, but I do want to give an honest review to the end user so that expectations are set, right? Don't want to sell anybody a pipe dream. Don't want to tell anybody this thing is going to be 100% hands off, that you're going to set it and forget it and never mess with it, because that's probably not going to be the case, right? I want to find that out for myself, and I want to share my journey with that so that you guys can kind of make the best decision for you, right? Does it make sense to not buy another zero turn and instead buy a Lymow One? I don't know, right? That's your question to answer, but what I want to do is provide you with the best information so that you can make the best decision for you, for your family, for your lawn. Another goal of mine, and one reason we actually decided to go ahead and sign on with Lymow, is because I feel like the entire robotic lawn industry, especially some of these newer brands, have a huge problem with service, right? My background is actually as a farmer. I'm a 7th generation farmer by heritage. You can see all the cropland. That's my family's in the back here. So once I got out of college, I returned to the farm, worked there for 3 or 4 years. I actually became a spray drone dealer with Acura spray drones here. Top-notch people. Taylor, everybody there does a wonderful job. I actually still work there as a key account manager. But the entire robotic lawnmower industry, mainly the new companies, I can't speak to Husqvarna or any of the other brand service levels, but I do see a lot of people complaining about response times, complaining about service level, and really just the after sales side in general. So with my background being already in robotics, I actually owned a dealership for Acura spray drones. I was one of their first 8 dealers in the network here in the United States. Helped hundreds of customers over the last 5 years of my life, dating back to 2021, 2022 was kind of when we got into this thing. And what I want to do is I want to bring that level of expertise into the robotic lawnmower industry. When Lymow came to me, they were really focused on the service aspect of things, right? Warranty repairs, downtime. They understand that it's a problem. They know this. They've listened to the customers that bought Lymow Ones and even Lymow One Pluses now, that service is a problem. And so they want to correct it. What I want to do is I want to help them. I want to help them fix that. I want to bring a premium after sales service to East Coast here, right? But if people are interested in Lymows, I don't want bad service to be a reason that they don't buy. I want to be able to provide that. Limited downtime, parts availability, repair availability, service plans, whatever the market needs to use these robot mowers the way they should be used. Again, really happy with the way it's doing so far. I just want to bring the best information to the audience here, people who are listening. My main goal here really is just to bring good service, right, to the area. Bring good service to the area to where people can use these robot mowers and not feel like they're hung out to dry, right? Not wait 48, 72 hours on a response from China. We can wait 40 minutes, right? Buy a lawnmower from somebody in the same time zone as you. That would be pretty nice. So that's our goal with this, is just to bring good support to the market, bring good support to the industry, where these mowers can be ran here in the United States like they should be. So again, it's about 7 o'clock here in North Carolina, Charlotte area. We are going to let this robot mow, and then we'll follow up with our thoughts after this first mow. All right, so it is 8:02 p.m. here in North Carolina. Mower has been going all day. I think it has charged about 4 times, and it is around, let's just see what, 66% complete with my yard. 41,000 square foot, so just under 1 acre of mowable grass here. It's 66%, so 2/3 of the way done with the acre. It's mowed 2/3 of an acre. Obviously that's a lot less than what it is supposed to get. And I think a lot of that is attributed to the slow speed. I had it slowed down. A lot of that was because of how thick this grass was, and I'm actually anticipating that something else that it's probably attributed to is the blade speed, the blade strength. I have it turned up to power, so that's 1 step down from turbo, which is the highest setting. You've got eco, standard, power, and turbo are the 4 settings, and I had it on power to try to cut through some of that thick grass that we showed you earlier in the video. Did a really good job cutting this grass today. Pretty happy with the quality of the cut, especially how tall it was. It is going to need to remow the front yard. We can go around there and check that out. It was a little thicker than the back here, but I am pretty happy with the way the backyard turned out. With the front yard, you can tell that there is a significant difference. Well, I say significant, really probably a slight difference, but there is a lot of like these longer, thin type of grasses. I guess this is just part of a fescue that went to seed, to be honest, but you can tell there's a lot more of that. I guess just where it got too thick and it couldn't handle it. Here's another shot of what was left. That is just rye that was left over from a straw that continues to reseed every year. So you got a lot of that. I'm sure it'll get it on its next pass, but I've got it set to mow this direction, and then it's gonna rotate 45 degrees and mow that direction once it has made this pass. So I probably will honestly let it run through the night tonight, just because it's not gonna be mowing a whole lot. I'm really not too worried about it. It's gotten along pretty good today. The only thing I did notice, I set a channel this morning, and I guess it's really my fault. I set the channel where it would be crossing this really sharp ditch. It's the edge of a landscape ditch, and I'll show you where I had the charger set up and all that. So you know that's pretty relevant information. And so it would drive out of the landscape bed, and it would basically dive into this ditch, and the deck would get stuck on the edge of it. So there really wasn't a whole lot the mower would do. I would get a notification that there was an error, and I actually set 2 channels. It has opted to take this channel each time, as it was the first one that I set. I guess it defaults as primary. There was a second one that I mapped that actually is going to be a lot better for this unit, but I cannot delete the primary one during the middle of the task. I have to actually cancel the task, end the task. I cannot pause the task and do it. It actually has to be you have to end or cancel the task. So I wanted to let it finish mowing since I'm already this far into it, and then probably tomorrow or the following day, whenever I mow again, before I mow again, we'll delete that channel. That way it can go ahead and take the better route. So I've got this spot here it bogged down a little bit. So I've got this spot here. This grass naturally gets more water than the rest of the yard. It absorbs more nutrients, and it is growing faster and thicker than the rest of the yard has. So you can tell it is probably the most overgrown part of the yard here, and the Lymow is just now starting to kind of get into that. And it's not doing a bad job at all. Again, it'll probably never get this tall ever again since we've got this unit. As long as it continues to run the way it has today, my grass will probably never get above 5 or 6 inches again. All right, so I got my charger set up there, plugged in here behind the grill, and I actually had it walking out on the other side of the RTK station. It would kind of just nose off right there. It would nose off right there into that little bit of a ditch. That's probably a 6.5 inch ditch anyways. So it would nose off into it. I would just come out and pick it up and actually have to set it into the grass and then just hit resume. It wasn't that big of a deal. If I wouldn't have been home, it would have been a little bit more frustrating, I guess, but kind of just probably comes with the growing pains of learning a new machine. And I think that's a lot of it, right? You know, I talked about it earlier in the video. If you think this is going to be a machine that you're never going to have to touch, if you think this is a machine that you're never going to have to do maintenance on, really limited maintenance, but like sharpening your blades, replacing your blades, washing your deck. Really, probably your deck needs to be washed about every time you mow, every other time you mow, definitely every time you mow if you're mowing in wet grass, because it will cake on. But if you think this is going to be a machine you never have to do maintenance on, you just set it and forget it, it's probably not going to be for you. But what this can do is it can actually save you a lot of time on your zero turn, on your riding mower, even your push mower. We've got one neighbor down here that push mows probably a half acre or more, 30 inches at a time. I feel bad for that guy when it's 100 degrees out. You're gonna save a lot of time if that's your alternative, right? If you can drop a robotic mower, a Lymow, into your property and replace your ride arm, replace your push mower, and that type of traditional method, you can save yourself a lot of time. I mentioned it earlier in the video, I've got 2 toddlers, and this saves me a ton of time already. My grass needed to be mowed the day we got back from the beach, which was yesterday. After driving 4.5 hours back with 2 screaming kids in the car, honestly, maybe I did want to go get on the lawnmower a little bit because that's a little bit therapeutic, but it did save me some time, right? I had a full day at work today, getting caught up from being gone, so my mower was out mowing for me while I was sitting in the office, and that saved me a lot of time. Probably takes me 3 hours, start to finish, to mow my yard. So if I really need to be mowing twice a week, I'm saving 6 hours a week over 8 months of probably the growing season of grass here in North Carolina. That is pretty solid for me. 7 months, maybe would be a little bit more generous, but that's a lot. It adds up. So time back with my family, time back doing other things, working on a couple of projects right now. We've got a flower garden that is for my daughters over there. And then over here, we actually just did 2 more flower gardens right there and right there. And then we did some raised beds for the first time, and we gravelled a little area for a fire pit. And so for me, really, again, it's about time savings. I can get a lot done, 6 hours a week extra on my hands. Don't necessarily have 6 hours laying around right now as it is, that's for sure. So if this can keep me off the lawnmower 3 to 6 hours a week, I would be perfectly satisfied with that. Even if I have to do maybe even a little bit more weed eating. Like I'll show you here. Traditionally, when I mow with a 0 turn, I actually don't have to get off and weed eat. Now keep in mind, this Lymow has not made its perimeter pass yet, so there is actually a very good chance that it will take care of a lot of this. It looks like it has mowed pretty good here along the edge in most parts. It will make one more perimeter pass at the very end and missed a little spot right there, so it probably will get it all. And if it does that, I'd be really honestly surprised. I don't expect it to. If it gets stuck in the ditch, I'll have to come out here and move it, so I don't want it to get too close. But if it gets that, I'd be very, 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 very satisfied and surprised by that. That would be a pleasant surprise. I mean, I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this on the back end of this. This mower is laying down some laser beams right now. Dark, light, dark, light. It's laying them down pretty good. Very, very happy with the stripe quality that this mower is putting off to this point. Very happy with that. Well, I think that's probably gonna conclude this for the day. Again, probably gonna let the mower go the rest of the night tonight, and then we will see what happens when we wake up in the morning. We'll see if it finished, see if it completed its first task all of the way. Not gonna do anything to it. The only thing that worries me is, again, this channel. Probably not gonna be able to make it outside of that, so I might honestly just pause it. I don't know, we'll see. But nevertheless, pretty satisfied with the way the mower did today. I'm excited to be able to continue to use it. Excited to have the opportunity to test this unit out and let you guys know what I think. I wanna reiterate, what I wanna bring here is good service. I wanna bring an unbiased opinion because that's what I would want somebody to do to me. So I'm pretty curious to see how this turns out after tonight. Really kind of concerned about the channel a little bit. Might honestly let it finish this mow, and then before it turns to a 45, end it, delete that channel, and then let it turn to a 45 and finish mowing the rest of the night through. If I leave that channel the way it is, I'm not coming out here at 2 a.m. to move this mower tonight. So I am probably going to let it finish mowing here before the sun goes down, and then reset everything. Cancel it, end it, delete that one channel, use the second channel that I used or that I created, and then all should be good from there. And then that would be a real test to see, hey, can this thing run for 8 hours? Can it run for 10 hours without being touched? Maybe it can. Maybe it can. Maybe it can't. I don't know. I aim to find out though, and I will certainly let you guys know. Actually, don't think I showed you guys this part earlier, just so you can get a feel of, there you go, that's a good feel. I mean, there might be a snake in here. Just so you can get a feel of what this thing is mowing. Well, that's like halfway up my forearm. Yeah, probably at least a foot long right there. So kind of curious to see how it does right there. Yeah, I mean, it's just laying some of that over. Some of that is just too thick. Not too worried about that though. We'll never cut grass that tall again. So kind of just a cool test I wanted to run here to see if it could bush hog or not. I know it's not a bush hog. I know it's not a brush cutter, but can it mow some tall fescue? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Good morning, everybody. Last night, mower got almost all the way done except for maybe like a 5-foot strip. On the other side, it came back to charge one last time, so I just cut the task, went ahead and canceled it. And I brought the mower back over here, or actually it docked itself. And you can see here, the channel would just come straight out here, right down that little path. But what I actually did was I deleted that channel, and I bring the mower out now and up onto the concrete and then off into the grass. It seems to like that a lot better than the previous one. It undocked itself perfectly fine all by itself this morning. Jumped that little lip on the concrete and then came on off into the yard and has begun mowing. I'm mowing as fast as possible today, 3.3 feet per second. I did turn my blade speed down to standard from power because we've already made a single cut here. So I am interested to see, I guess, if it takes down the rest of this grass that was left standing from yesterday on standard. I wouldn't think it requires a third cut. Maybe it will, I don't know, but I'm certainly interested to find out. It's doing a pretty good job already. I think it's mowed at least 30% of the yard on one charge, I'd say, or close to it anyways. It's much further along this morning than it was at this point yesterday. It's like 7:45 already, so it's been mowing for about 45 minutes. And everything is running really good. I've seen a lot of talk online about the app being kind of buggy or people having issues with it. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's buggy. There are a couple things that they could change to make it easier to navigate, more efficient, that kind of stuff. Coming from the spray drone industry, software is 95% of how efficient a drone is. Obviously, you've got tank size, you've got flight speed, that kind of stuff, but when it comes to how efficient the drone is, a lot of it has to do with software. You know, how fast does it turn at the end of its pass? How well does it terrain follow? How well does it obstacle avoid? All those metrics play into effect whenever you're talking about a spray drone. The robot mower, just robotics in general, right? Even all the way down to a house vacuum. A lot of it is similar, you know, especially when you think about a house vacuum, which we do have one. We have one that vacuums and mops. It's a EcoVax, I believe is the brand. And the software on that brand is honestly a little disappointing. This is not a mop vacuum review by any means, but if the software had been better on that, I would probably be a returning customer, whereas when we buy another one, we'll probably buy a different brand. Now, on the lawnmowers, it's a little bit different. That vacuum does do a good job mopping. It does do a good job vacuuming, which I guess plays into, okay, this unit just does do a good job, you know, maintaining the yard. I've seen that already. It's very apparent to me that it's going to be a phenomenal mower when it comes to the actual cut quality of the unit. But again, some of the things that they could improve on the software, to me, like being able to edit parameters as it's, you know, mowing across the yard rather than having to hit the pause button and adjust the deck height or the speed, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's little stuff, right? That's pretty nitpick. The mower works as is. It works great as is. It's really just efficiency things. Little stuff within the app, again, not being able to, having to end the route to be able to delete my channel or change my channel in and out of my field or my yard, so to speak. That's a little bit frustrating. Like with the spray drones, we can adjust the height, speed, width, all those different things during the middle of a task, and it actually changes the route that we have remaining in the field. So I think that's pretty unique, and you know, I know a company like Lymow can do that. Any of the other brands can do that as well. It's just a matter of initiative or desire or demand, I guess, right? Customer demand. So that is something to keep in mind for sure. But I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's pretty quiet. It's doing just as good of a job, actually better on the cut quality, because it's mowing already cut grass, obviously trimming up some things that were left from yesterday, but it is doing a much better job, in my opinion, cleaning everything up this morning. Now, this is the second morning in a row the mower has cut with dew on the grass. Grass is very, very wet still. Probably will be wet for the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours, probably at least till 10 o'clock. It'll be wet. So I'm kind of interested to see what underneath the deck looks like, if it's packed up or not. I did go ahead and take the chute off of the side, the discharge flap. There's plenty of videos out there on that. I actually took the flap off, but then there's actually like a housing piece that holds the flap. I think it's 2 or 3 more screws up under the deck that removes the bottom crossbar from that. Now, obviously that is a safety concern. You need to leave it on if you're concerned about people sticking their hands in the deck of the robot mower, but it does provide certainly a better discharge and is going to probably improve the lifespan of your motors, as it's not having to mulch as much. It just discharges it out the side as it cuts those grass clippings. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Good morning, everybody. The Lymow One did complete its second pass on the yard last night. I'll show you what some of the cuts look like. You can kind of see them a little bit right there. It made some pretty good looking stripes. So we do have our first little crisscross pattern here. You can still see some of the zero turn stripes as well. So some of these stripes are harder to see because they were parallel with the zero turn. These 45-degree angle stripes are looking pretty solid. They're looking pretty good right now. It's pretty hard to see stripes this time of the day. And we did go ahead and redo our channel. So we had it coming all the way out to the edge of where the landscape is, where the ditch was dug. And so the deck was getting stuck on that each time. But we did redo the channel night before last and went ahead and got it up on the concrete to cross out level, and I'll show you that here. Before, it was just backing up all the way on the other side of the RTK station, and it would get stuck in this ditch every time. But now I've got it actually set to make a little bit of a U-turn here and then out onto the concrete instead of crossing that ditch. And I am probably going to either rock or concrete this area where it is running now. So it is going to make the longer passes on optimized like I wanted it to. I was just kind of curious if it would or not. I probably will leave it on that setting if it does well here. But I just want to walk around through here and kind of show you some of what this mower is going to be mowing here within this specific zone. A roadside, I guess, I can't remember if this was roadside 1 or roadside 2, but I do want to show you some of the area that this is going to be mowing. It's stuff that I have literally never mowed. So I actually have mapped out this side of the ditch and the other side of the ditch. Not where the dirt is, but where the grass is growing, it is going to mow. And then all the way down here to this pipe, this road pipe. And then also up there, you can see there's some overgrown grass that has gone to seed long ago that it is going to be mowing. It's kind of hard to tell, but that is a very steep hill. At least I would say 35 degrees, something like that. And it's not level at all. There's a lot of clumps of grass. There is a lot of bare spots, dirt spots where the water has eroded the soil. So I'm really kind of curious to see how it handles everything. And while it is doing that, something else I would like to show you guys how good the cut is. Again, made 2 cuts on this grass. It was 6-7 inches tall probably across the entire yard, but man, after this second cut, I mean, it looks as good, or I mean, I would say as good as the zero turn for sure. Turn the camera around there, you can see some of these stripes. You know, these large ones here to the right are the zero turns, but man, really happy with the way it did. Out here to check on this thing, and man, my zero turn has never put stripes on this roadside like this, ever. Like, not a single stripe. It's really just a pass down. Really, I mow all of them in the same direction, but it really doesn't grain it any way at all. They're nowhere near visible. It just gets cut, right? So I'm actually really liking these stripes here on this slim roadside. All right, everybody. I think that's probably going to do it for this video. First cut with the Lymow One. Overall impressions are good. Took a little bit longer to get it complete than I initially wanted. I think a lot of that is just attributed to the slower speed. Once I cranked the speed up, the second cut, it actually completed it a lot faster, so that was a little bit better. But overall, super impressed with the quality of the cut. I did feel the blades last night, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and sharpen them and run like a test to see if it does any better. I'm curious to see, because I felt the blades, they're tough, but they're not that sharp. Maybe spinning at 6,000 RPMs, you know, wouldn't want to stick my finger in there, but wonder if I can get them any sharper and do any better at all. Overall, really impressed with the unit. Impressed with the ease of getting it up and going, getting everything mapped, and really from unboxing into operation. Very, very smooth process. Didn't run into any hiccups really. A couple minor alterations that I've had to do and redo along the way, but overall, I'm really liking it so far. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. We are here again to provide really good service. I'm gonna make an about us video to explain to you guys who we are, what we do, where we come from, and then just our overall reasoning for being in this industry now, coming out of spray drones, still being in spray drones, but then entering into the robotic lawnmower industry. Just want to provide really good support is really all that it comes down to. So if you guys, again, have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them below. Please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.